And with the whistle, we're off. I'm in my S18S this weekend. It's a surf ski. Uh, this For this race, it's the Gutbuster. I'm in the 18-foot or less class, and there's a lot of 18-foot or less boats out in front of me right now, and will remain there. I certainly didn't place in this race. We have a lot of the tandems that are starting to take the lead. You can see Scott and Dot Merritt are starting to pull away there. That's the black and white boat just in front of me to the left. We have Jeff Hawley in the green shirt and white boat. He's what I consider an elite paddler. He's very good. So he's going after it. And out in the front we have Mike and Samantha Herbert. They dominate this race every year, which is great. It's kind of fun to see these guys. He's an Olympic paddler. He's a three-time Olympian, and he's nice enough to come race with us. I'm very privileged to be able to paddle with him. To my left is Pete Larson in the black and yellow kayak with the red shirt, and he kind of stayed with me for the better part of the race, and or the first half anyhow, and challenged my pace as we cut up to Jeff Hawley. So we had a great time. And after a bit, the herd starts to thin out a little bit. And the nice thing about this race is it's out and back. So you go out around a marker on the other end and come back. So you get to see all the leading boats come directly at you. And you can see who's in first and second and so forth. And it's actually kind of a neat race because you become a spectator even though you're paddling in the race. You can actually see what's going on in the front of the pack, and I always like that. As you can see to the left there, Pete is doing a good job of challenging me through the entire first half of the race. And to the right, this fella here, I guess he races at the Hump Day 5K at the Shawnee Mission Lake. I don't know his name. I wish I did, but he's a very good paddler, and I never was able to catch up with him. But these kids here off to the right, doing the single blade and the outrigger, we were able to hold our own with them. We eventually pushed a little bit past them. It's pretty cool to be in the middle of the pack. We have our own little race going on back here. As Pete Larson and I continued to push each other through the race, I saw that we were actually catching up gradually to Jeff Hawley, and that was my target. I try to pick out a target in each race to motivate myself to push a little bit, and I apologize if you're watching this, Jeff, but you were my target during this portion of the race. I wanted to catch up to you, and but I'm sure Jeff knows what I'm talking about. He's an ultra marathoner, and he's done some sensational human accomplishments with his ultra marathons. It's just he's a neat guy to watch as far as what he's doing with his races. But anyhow, we're easing up on Jeff, and as we come up on Jeff, Pete Larson drops back into my draft. I grab Jeff's draft rather, and I hang on to that for a bit, and then at some point felt I could push on past Jeff, and that's what we did. So it was a good race. I love having people around me who are similar capabilities, in regards to paddling, so I can, it makes it into a race. Even though we're not in the front of the pack, we're not out there with Mike and Samantha, Herbert, or the tandems, that sort of thing. We certainly have our own little race going on in the middle of the pack. After going past the pylon at the end, I started back in the opposite direction and caught a few of the paddlers coming up behind me, and I heard some beeping going on from my GoPro. This was the first time I ever used my GoPro, so I had to learn how to use it. But anyhow, I ran out of battery life, so I got about half the race on video, but it kind of gives you a good idea of what was going on with this race. Anyhow, enjoy. As you can see, Jeff is getting bigger and bigger in the screen. We are easing up on him here, and We're continuing to push. You know, Pete Larson and I were just neck and neck. It was a great way to push through, and so I would like to thank Pete for the push. I mean, he really pushed me up there and kept me on my pace and allowed me to catch up with Jeff Hawley. At this point, we were pushing up on Jeff Hawley, and I think he saw me coming. He was not going to let me pass him, so I dropped into his draft for a little bit, and I figured I'd try again in a little while. Now, after we pass Jeff Hawley, you'll see the front runners in our race, the front people start to come back toward us. And, once again, this is an out and back. We do 8 miles total. And this day it's 3 miles upstream, 3 miles downstream, going past the starting line 1 mile, and then returning for a total of 8 miles. So you actually get to see the people in the front of the pack 2 times. And that makes for a really neat thing as a paddler. Once again, you become a spectator, even though you're paddling the race.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Here's the
Good job, guys. Good job.
As you can see, it's just a stump that's sticking out of the water at the end of the area that you can actually paddle. Here comes Jeff Hawley.
I'll go inside.
There's those 2 young guys and their single paddle.
Good job, John. Rusty.
Get it, Pete. Nice job, guys. Nice job.
Andrew, you got it.
Aha.
Lead hard, Pete. You got a target in front of you. I'm gonna start reeling them in.
Beaver.
Get him, Andrew.
Go, Denise.
So after the Gutbuster race, I made the 2-hour trek back to pick up Jackie and Jerry Daniels at the Double Chub trail race, and that was a pretty tough race for both of those guys. They were running 31 miles on the Chubb trail. That was an out and back, and so I'm super proud of them. They did a great job at that. And what you're seeing now is a well-deserved relaxing paddle on the Mississippi River, and we just took the Winona, Minnesota 2 canoe and
let's go around to the right there a little
we'll
bit.
go out to this island on the Mississippi
And then
River
hook
and
it
find
in.
some morel mushrooms, but we didn't find any. But it was fun to walk around on the island, and I've never spent much time out there. It's usually full of vegetation, and you're unable to
towards those dead grasses there.
unable to walk through the islands. But
Yeah, right towards
today it was
those
nice.
dead grasses there.
It's early spring, and we were able to wander around and look at the wildlife, and we did see a lot of deer tracks and other wildlife signs, and it was fun.
Then you can pull the nose up and then I'll get out.
Here we're passing the Hannibal Harbor. You probably saw the Mark Twain riverboat off to our right. There it is. What a great way to end the weekend. We had 2 wonderful races. The Gutbuster starting the kayaking racing season, and then Jackie with her ultramarathon, 31 miles on the Chubb Trail. It was a weekend to be proud of, a lot of fun, and definitely worth celebrating with a nice relaxing paddle on the Mississippi River. And right here, just off to the right is the Hannibal Harbor. We're going to pull in there and call it a day. It's about time to grab a beer at the Great River Brewing Company and close out this weekend. This harbor to our right is brand new. About 2 years ago, Hannibal decided to redo the harbor, and you see those pillars during tourist season. Those are the tie-offs for the big river boats that come into Hannibal. There's a lot of big tourist boats that come up from New Orleans and spend time in Hannibal. It's just a really nice part of our town. We get hundreds of tourists off these boats, and that really enhances what we can offer in Hannibal. Just off the nose is the Hannibal Harbor. As you paddle in, you have to kind of predict the current, and as you pull in, the back end of the canoe or kayak or whatever you're in is going to kick around a little bit. There we get that little push. You see the back end come around. And we're just going to do an easy paddle up to the boat ramp. This is where I like to relax and just kind of let the boat drift a bit. Looks like the sun is about an hour and a half away from sunset.
Let's run parallel.
It's about beer 30 as far as I'm concerned.
Come in gently. I got it.
What a great ending to a weekend. As you can see, Jackie's legs are still tired from her race. It's kind of hard for her to get up right now. After 31 miles, I can't
Pulled
blame
up
her.
on shore a little bit.
Those are some tired legs right there.
Just pulled up on shore a little bit.
There we go.
There we go. truck.
Okay, we're going to show you a few pictures of Jackie's race.
Okay, let's walk to the truck.
Jerry Daniels, they had a wonderful race. Here's some shots. Enjoy.